When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease Goblin YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be looking at kind of a build-on video from last week. So last week, I uploaded a video about who Jon's parents were. I went through the Ned and Ashara theory, and kind of why I didn't like it. Well, I gave the reasoning for why it could be, right? For the why normal people kind of reason and rationale of why it would be true, and then kind of stated my opinions on it. But this one is going to be taking a different approach. I think today's video idea is way more likely and could be the one that's possibly true, and that being that Brandon and Ashara were the ones that had a relationship. So this theory kind of came from Ashley. She always comments on all my videos and stuff like that. I always see them. Sometimes I don't respond, but I try my best. So thank you for always supporting. And this video idea kind of came from her. She also wanted me to do another video about Rob's parentage, so we'll probably do that like in the future. But this video is going to be mainly talking about what is the evidence supporting Brandon, Stark, and Ashara compared to Ned and Ashara, where I think there's a little bit more evidence and it makes a little bit more sense looking at their characters. But before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do. It helps the channel grow and reach our appeal that might like this content as well. And let's get into the video. So let's start off right away with an analysis of Brandon Stark's character with Ned. So Ned is very honorable. He's more quiet. He's kind of more reserved. He's very much more honor-bound, especially when he was younger. Does it fit that, because with the Ned and Ashara theory, it goes that he basically lied to everyone and married Catelyn, even though he was already married to Ashara. So he kind of dishonors Ashara, as well as kind of being dishonorable as a whole. Does that fit his character when we look at Brandon? So Brandon is a character that's kind of considered like a bad boy. He's kind of how I look at him. He's very bad-tempered, right? He's very quick to anger. He thinks a lot more with his emotion, and he seems like someone that brags a bit more about like sleeping with people and stuff like that. So Brandon Stark is also the character that introduces Ned to Ashara. So a lot of people take this as, oh, Ned and Ashara, well, they had this dance, they started to have a thing, and they are the ones that kind of got together. Would it make a bit more sense that Brandon, introducing Ned to Ashara, Brandon already had a thing with Ashara? Now remember, Ashara is someone that by all means is considered very beautiful. A lot of characters comment that she was probably one of the most beautiful women at the time. Would it fit Brandon's character to go after her? I think it would, right? And this is why I hadn't really thought about this theory too much until a lot of people commented on last week's video about Brandon and Ashara. But there's even other hints that Brandon and Ashara could have been a thing from other characters within the story. So I think from that point of view, it makes a lot of sense. Now, let's turn to another issue, right? So when Ashara is first mentioned in Game of Thrones, when Catelyn kind of mentions to Ned about Ashara, Ned shuts this down. And some people take this as, okay, well, Ned definitely did not want people talking about Ashara because he had a thing with her. Well, what if it was the other way around, that Ned was protecting not only his brother, not only Ashara, but also Catelyn, right? Catelyn would not have taken kindly to, oh yeah, Brandon, he was sleeping with another woman, right? That's something she would not have taken well. She's very prickly by nature, and we see kind of how she is with Ned in general with Jon's mother, so that would not have gone over well. Also, he doesn't really want to be talking about things that would negatively kind of impact Brandon, who's already dead at this point. It would make him look even worse. Also, Ashara, which is someone that I think Ned, maybe Ashara didn't reciprocate it, but Ned probably did have some sort of feelings for her. And I think for him, it brings back painful memories, right? And I think it just reminds him of all the people he lost during the Robert's Rebellion. So I think it makes a lot of sense to not bring up Ashara and Brandon. And the other thing is, if you even look at Ashara, is Brandon's probably the one that got her pregnant with the stillborn baby that she ends up having. So for me, it would make a lot of sense in that regard, right? It would make a ton of sense as to why Ashara kills herself. It would make a ton of sense as to why Ned is trying to protect Ashara and not having her named. So when you look at all these ideas, I think with Ned, I think logically Ned would not have known. I think Ned would have known as soon as he goes to Starfall to return Arthur Dayne's sword. And I think that would have made a lot of sense, where he kind of figures out this information and he just kind of covers it up, right? So he kind of figures out, oh, Brandon was the father. Ashara loved Brandon. Brandon ends up dying. Her child ends up dying, or is stillborn, whatever. And she kills herself. That to me makes a lot of sense for me narratively, and it can explain a lot of the inconsistencies with the Ashara lines that we do get. So that is kind of my ideas for Brandon and Ashara. I think as a whole it makes more sense than Ned and Ashara, and we're probably going to talk about next week. The whole idea was that, did Brandon and Catelyn actually make Robb? Was that what kind of happened? There's some interesting evidence that was suggested in comments last week that I kind of want to talk about as well. I think it's a very interesting subject. So thank you guys all for watching this video. Thank you again, Ashley, for kind of the video suggestions, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.